Right on here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the live stream. Thank you for being patient and waiting on me here. All right. Let's see what happened during lunch. All right. Got my screen back up. Okay. Looks like we had a retracement during lunch. We put in a high just as we were heading off to lunch there. And then we pretty much retraced the entire lunch period back down to the same lows that we saw around 10:30. So it's the lows at the low end of this breaker block here, staying below the new week opening gap, but above the new day opening gap. So between this yellow shaded area and the lime green above. So again, I think I mentioned it when we were here. I said we were trading between Sunday at 1800, the reopen of the market, and then yesterday 1800. And so it looks like during lunch we're still doing that, and now we're building out of that position back to a premium of this. If you put a measurement here, I think we're just above 50%. Yep. So we're just above 50% there. So we're now back into premium. So we'll look and see if price wants to push down from here, or if this is it finding support and now pushing higher towards these highs. So we'll see. I remember also before we left, we were inside of this 5-minute fair value gap, and we had finally pushed out. We were unable to close outside of the fair value gap. So it remained valid, and we can see how strong that was where price traded below. Right, let's see who we have in the room. Molly, A. Dot, welcome back. Richard, good to have you again. Okay, A. Dot, you said you've already hit TP. Okay, excellent. Oh, you got in at 577, Molly, and got out at 552. Okay, nice. 25 pointer. It's a good one. Queen is here. Jawline, all right. All right. All right, let's go down to the 1 minute. I just want to see what happened during the macro, because the macro just finished. Okay, we pushed down to the new day opening gap and then pushed out. So that's what happened during the macro here. Let's get back up to the 5 minute, and then we will stretch this out. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what happened to the others during lunch as well. Okay, we see we had basically a doji for the dollar during 12 o'clock hour, and now so far we're already selling off. We're into a fair value gap here, so let's be aware of that and not get too excited that price may continue lower, as it may find support here, and then we see it move higher. Okay. Okay. All right, so we saw the fair value gap here during lunch, push S&P back down to some of the lower values we saw this morning. So it's basically the same as what we see in Nasdaq. We're seeing the same in S&P, where they're looking at the lows from the morning session. The difference is we have already in the last 10 minutes swept the lows from the morning session here on Nasdaq. However, the morning session lows are still intact for S&P. So we'll see if S&P wants to catch up, or if what that really means is that we're going to be seeing higher prices and S&P just didn't sweep the low, but it's going to also move higher. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to just wait for a bit and just let price settle down and show me where it wants to go, because right now there's a cracking correlation between the three indices and the dollar here. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time before I decide what I want to do. Mm, your daily TP is $177 for 11 accounts. Okay. Well, that gets you right around $2,000 per day in total, which is $10,000 a week. So it's not too bad. I'm sure most people would love to make $500,000 per year. Here you go. No more trouble. That shit. Mm. All right. Did anyone take the breaker block short during lunch from the indicator on the 5 minute? I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the indicator during lunch gave out this area here is a breaker. We had trade above, trade below, a close on this candle at 12:30. The following candle traded back in and down. You even had a smaller 5 minute fair value gap created here. Sitting on your hands. Okay. Hey, Brad, what's going on? Just got through yours last week. Yeah. No, things are going well. Yeah, I hear you laughter. I'm same way. It's like price action this morning has not been extremely inspiring, just based on the tight range that it's staying in and having breakers on just above us and just below us. It's like it's hard to decide which one to trust and which direction price is actually going, especially with the crack and correlation between the pairs as well. It's been a good idea to just sit on my hands, even though I see setups. I've taken one, no, I've taken two trades actually this morning on my demo account. So nobody saw those, but it was mainly because uh, I wasn't extremely confident in where I thought price was going. Um, no, I am not ex-military. Nope. All right. So earlier I thought that this new week opening gap here in the lime green, I thought when price traded above and closed above, we were going to find some support there and get price to move above this fair value gap closing above somewhere. We have struggled to do that. In fact, price traded out once, failed back in, swept between this low, below this swing low, and now it's also gone below this swing low here. Even though after sweeping that low and pushing through the new day opening gap, we got a failure and trade back into the range. So we might actually range here for quite some time. We'll see if price wants to break out anytime soon. Otherwise, it'll be, we'll range for as long as it takes. It's just we're inside of, on the 1 hour, we're inside of a bullish breaker. However, on the 5 minute, we just had a bearish breaker push price back down to the lower area of this bullish breaker. So if you're going to take this, if you took this, believing for lower prices, it has delivered lower prices. Just understand that price may not, and I say may not trade below the new day opening gap significantly. We'll see. We do have the Asia low still below us that hasn't been traded to, and that's at 517. We'll see if price wants to trade down there or to the midnight open or both. Let's go to the hourly. I'll show you where we are, just kind of where we're stuck in price here. So overall, if I zoom out, zooming out, zooming out. All right, so the low that we put in was Monday at 9 o'clock. Back with me. Yep. All right, so we had Monday's 9 a.m. low, or the Monday low is where we are. And we came from Friday's high, which was just after lunch. And so that's the range that we're trading in, from up here to down here. Let me change this color. All right, and we can see where the equilibrium of this is. It's just below the midnight open and just above the Asia low. And so we're trading in the premium range of this price leg. So what may need to happen if we're going to take out this high, which was the New York high this morning, if we're going to sweep that, maybe we need to trade into a discount price, which, as I mentioned, is just below 5. So 520 is equilibrium. So anything below that would be discount. And we can see there's a 1 hour fair value gap just below. So likely what's going to happen if we're going to see higher prices is we'll probably sweep below, take out the Asia low, hit the fair value gap, and then move higher. So it'll end up looking like this. Now there may be some noise in the middle. So it may trade up, down, and just kind of do a few things. But it looks like maybe that's where things are going, because as it was building up, it almost took out the high over here. You got, 98, 99% of the way there, and then started to fail and coming back down. So maybe what price wants to do is get back into discount. You can see that's where it pivoted from yesterday at 3 o'clock. It also, last night at 11 o'clock too, the most recent pivot here on the 1 hour, and all of them happened just below equilibrium. So maybe that's where we're going again. And in doing so, we can actually sweep this low here. So take out a little bit of liquidity here, the Asia low there. Laughter. No, I'm definitely not a ex-military. Nope. No, I had a 20-year corporate career doing finance and accounting. All right, so the opening 30 minutes of the afternoon session has already happened. I have noticed that sometimes when price is a bit sticky or not really having a large range, at 130 can be a time when price starts to loosen up a bit. So let's see if that occurs here. That also can be a pivot point as well. I appreciate the thumbs up. Thank you. 26 already. That's not bad. And generally, if we want to see price move in the opposite direction, we always look for a liquidity sweep. So we got a liquidity sweep here, but we didn't get any impulse. There's no energetic move to the upside. There's no fair value gap being created. None of those things. So this sweep of liquidity here has not presented any type of entry. Even when I slip down to the 5 minute, it's the same thing. We got a sweep of that level, and none of these candles are showing any type of energy or any type of fair value gap that would support price moving higher at the moment. And so even though we see a small little stair step up, we're still expecting it to fail here in the bearish fair value gap here. Or I'm sorry, in a bearish breaker with the fair value gap above. Not to mention this larger fair value gap, which came from over here at 10:30 this morning. It's still valid. We haven't closed above yet. So there's a smaller one inside of a larger one with a breaker. And so until we get energy pushing through where we feel like there's a close above this breaker here, as well as there's a fair value gap, a bullish one created below, I would not look for there to be higher prices soon. And as I say that, price starts to get a little bit of momentum behind it. So let's let's wait for it to complete in another minute and a half and see where it's at. Give me a second. Let me just close the door. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I need to let me mark up the lunchtime session highs. Okay, so this was the lunch low that was swept immediately when the new hour started. First thing it did was sweep the lunch lows. All right, so we have the Asia low open. We have the lunch high as well as the New York high. Order block at 2300. Yep, you're right. That is another form of confluence there as well. You're right. It's another PD array. We have the order block there. We have our opening value for the day, the midnight open. We have the new day opening gap. There's so much in that area right there that's holding price from going lower. Oh, have you, Robin? Well, that is the area that sent price higher. So that's going to be this area over here. Right, so from 11 o'clock. Yeah, if I'll draw it here on the 5 minutes, it's probably a little smaller than it is on the hour, but it's essentially the same. Jesus Christ. There we go. Yeah, so it's essentially this purple area. Yep. Dipped into it, pushed out. So yeah, it's just a lot of things in this area here that's holding price where it is. And that's another reason to hold off from taking a position unless you want to take a position that trades to that area. About 6 or 7 minutes, we'll have another macro and we'll see if that loosens up price and if it starts running for some of these liquidity pools. We have equal highs here. We have a swing high just inside of this bearish fair value gap. There is a bearish fair value gap here. It can also go lower. We have equal lows. So it's just want to see where price wants to go. Mm. I just wanted to mark that up just in case price starts moving in that direction. Okay, so we had a see, we retrace back down, and we had a retest of the new day opening gap. So once again, I've been saying this all morning, and so far this afternoon, we're back at same price we were at 1800 yesterday. I can look at the daily chart, and it just last few days have definitely been uninspiring. Let me check and see if the S&P has swept the lows. So this low that we had that was swept right as lunch started and swept these lows from this morning. That is the S&P that I think Queen was mentioning earlier, that it did not get taken on S&P, but it did get taken on NQ. All right, so S&P also took its morning low just recently. Most likely when we just touched this new day opening gap, S&P probably went through it. In fact, let's see that. Yep, we can see it was just that last 5-minute candle sweeping the low over here. So I was waiting for it to be in line with what we saw on NQ. All right, so right now we have everything selling, all indices and the dollar. So again, still cracking correlation there. So no need to get overly aggressive or excited about an entry. Let's get back over to NQ. And we're also at 150. So it's the macro time. So let's see if the macro is just going to trade into this breaker and back down. And this here on the 1 minute, this is just being put up on the screen from the indicator. In fact, let me just turn this off. You know what, I'm gonna turn it back on just for a second. I just want to measure, see what an entry would have looked like. Oh, what happened there? There's the 2 to 1. Mhm. Yeah, Zach. So as I looked at the daily, and I'm not being inspired by the candle structure, I then switched down to the weekly, and I noticed that we're in consolidation for the weekly for the first time since October, which is not surprising because the weekly does take time to develop. So after having the expansion during November, December, and January, continuing to see new highs or get towards the new high, now that we've reached it several times over the last 3 months, price is starting to consolidate a bit. And when you get consolidation on the weekly, man, that means for a month or two, you're going to stay in the same range. And that's kind of what's happening now. And so we've been here since, let me see, when we first entered this range, the week of February 5th. So we're in week number 7 of this range now, between like 17,900 to 18,000, and where we are now at 18,500. So you're talking about a 600 point range we've been in for almost 2 months. Oh, did it? So I was watching the dollar to see, because it was pushing lower, and I was waiting to see if it would push below the fair value gap. But I switched off the screen, and now I see that it did not. It rejected, and now it's pushing higher. So, okay, cool beans. Oh, in the 5. Okay, in the 5 minute, it confirmed. Got it. Right. So if we just follow market flow, we had a push down to external range liquidity. Get rid of this thing. Right. Then we have a fair value gap right here. So we had a push back into internal range, filling up the fair value gap there. And now we see a push lower. Hopefully it's below this fair value gap here, and at least sweeping these equal lows, and potentially this low from 1345 as well. Interesting. Interesting. So TP from the 5-minute breaker takes us down to the S&D zone. Okay. back up to the 5-minute. Just yeah, I wanted to see if price would turn around at this line I put here at 549. See if we could get price to fill there. Otherwise, this 1-minute breaker may not hold for anyone who was looking at that as an entry. Obviously, the 5-minute breaker is a bit stronger here to the left, but it takes on much more risk there. Yep, 34 points as opposed to 16. All right, price is now traded above, closed above. Two more minutes on the macro here. Oh, another breaker on a 3-minute. Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that uh, the hourly time frame seems to be quite strong. All the PDRAs, whether it's order block, fair value gaps, the hourly time frame it seems to be a good, I guess, forget what they call it, but anyway, it gives you a good indication of what's happening in the market. And on a smaller time frame, like the 5 minute or 1 minute, it'll give you a pretty solid entry that you can believe in, and that will hold up. Whereas a lot of times the 5 minute will fail on you sometimes, but the hour, for whatever reason, it sticks. And I think and it's good for day trading. If you're looking at the 4 hour or anything higher than that, that's usually what people use during swing trading, because you're looking at it taking several days or even weeks to reach your target. But I used to use the 15 minute a lot to kind of give me a direction of where price was moving. And once I moved over to the hour, I found that my trades were much more solid in their foundation, and had a higher strike rate. It's another reason why I'm not willing to really abandon this bullish breaker here. I pulled it off to the side just so it's not in the way and not cluttering up the screen there. But I'm still holding on that this is going to hold price. And so far it has. It's just price has been inside of it for, far too long. So, okay, let's get back up to the 5 minute time frame. All right, so far that 1 minute breaker is still valid as well. It's not on the screen anymore. It's not showing on here on the 5 minute, but it's if you saw it on the 1 minute and you took an entry, you should still be in it. Let's just bounce back over to the 1 hour comparison chart for just a quick moment. Just wanted to show this just because we just we completed the hour about 10 minutes ago. So let's just see where we landed there. So the dollar, we have a pin bar there, slightly bearish. The deep retracement down into the fair value gap, was able to pull back up into the bearish fair value gap and close. We then on the Dow had lower value sought and closed. S&P swept the morning low, closed bearish. And then we had also a sweep on Nasdaq, sweeping the morning lows and closing bearish. All right, let's see if they can't get correlated again this hour, and we can find ourselves an entry. Here we are, ranging again. You're right. Called it. Still between the new week and new day opening gap there. Maybe 230 will be that moment that breaks price for us. Yeah, you're right. It is building liquidity. So it's putting on both sides. There are people going long and short. And yeah, it's not going to be pretty for someone. Literally a 25-point range for the last 2 hours. That should be allowed. I don't see why not. And that's for Nasversity. Yeah, you should be able to take opposite trades in different pairs. Yeah, I normally watch the 5. Let me switch back down to the 5. I thought maybe the 15 would be helpful just because it gives us fewer candles and a cleaner chart, but the price not moving anywhere. Let's see if the 5 minute gives us more information. Okay, we had a sweep of equal highs here at 556. All right, since we started the afternoon session, it looks like we are putting in higher lows, or at least since 145, all the lows have been respected. All right, so we got consequent encroachment of the breaker now being tested again for the first time since around 12:30. There's a small fair value gap just above inside of the larger fair value gap that it's been in pretty much all afternoon. Rug pull. It could be. All right, well, let's see if this new week opening gap has anything to do with that. That's really a big test for price there, whether it can get back above. It hasn't traded above there since early in lunchtime. Yeah, yep, Queen. I was looking at the same thing. I was wondering if we were going to create some type of bullish breaker, but I was also looking for um, some speed in the movement of the candles, and so far we haven't seen any of that. Another 5 points, and we'll be retesting the new week opening gap again. All right, Robin, I laughed because I literally was thinking that, and I was gonna say it. And I was like, no, let me not say it. And then I thought it was maybe because I was looking at the 5 minutes. So I went over to my other screen and started looking at the 1 minute, and I was like, no, it's still moving that slow, and the range, the candles are extremely small. But so it's funny that you mentioned that. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I just saw a little bit of energy just a second ago, and I got excited and thought that something was gonna happen. I've taken two actually. Yeah, two trades today. Both on demo, none on the Topstep account. All right, let's see if this is going to be like a short-term liquidity sweep or if this is the rug pull that was predicted. Okay, still nothing traded outside of this breaker. So the last candle, even though trading a little higher, it stayed inside with the wick. Now we have a candle body closing below. So now let's see what the next candle does. Yeah, I deleted the fair value gap that was here. There was a I deleted it because it was just cluttering the screen, and we had a fair value gap on top of a fair value gap, which was the same color. But we can see that price traded to 50% of it, and then that's when we got the push down just now. Delete that again, just keep the screen as clean as possible. And relative equal lows here if price wants to continue moving down. Relative equal lows at 543. And the same thing at 537. And then ultimately down here at 530. All right, Molly, catch you tomorrow. Hmm. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of that fair value gap there. We don't really need it anymore. I'll just leave this one here because it goes with the breaker for the unicorn setup. Okay, let's get down to a lower time frame. See if we notice anything on the 1 minute as we approach our next macro. Hmm. Oh man. Yep, I'm waiting for power hour. Hopefully, that gives us something that we can use. And it's the last hour of the day, so it's got to be it. So I'm very hopeful that we get something, even if it's not a home run, as you say. Those lunchtime highs would be a nice place to trade to. I mean, it really just depends on where we are around. If nothing happens early during the hour and we have to wait until the end for the macro at 345 or 350, the one at 350. If we have to wait for that, it really depends on which one we're closest to. It's probably where I'm going to target, whether it's the lunch high or the Asia low. I like the lunch high, but it's a little far away from where we are now. But we'll reassess that in another 20 or 30 minutes. Triple C, wake up. Got a little something happening here. So we swept these equal lows here. And then we got an impulse move up. Okay. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. I shaved it yesterday. Goatee is gone. I decided I wanted to look 5 years younger, so I had to get rid of it. All right, we got about 5 minutes before power hour starts. And if everyone can do me a favor, if you have not hit the like button yet, go ahead and click the thumbs up, please. It'll help out the channel and getting YouTube to promote us to other traders. So if you can do me that huge favor and just click the thumbs up, please. We still have another hour and 15 minutes before the afternoon session's over. I appreciate that, CBS. All right, last minute before power hours begins. And thank you everyone for hitting the like button. I appreciate it. All right, 30 seconds. Yeah, I'm looking to get something this afternoon. Just trying to figure out exactly where price wants to go. Um, it's been this yellow area below is the new day opening gap, and the lime green is the new week opening gap. So it's just been sitting here all afternoon, in between those two ranges. And I mean, it's not even a large range at that. It's, it's like 30 points. So right now I'm not feeling like scalping. Um, and so I want to see if price wants to break through one of these barriers. Either it wants to trade above this new week opening gap and stay above it, or it wants to sweep low and take out this Asia low. And so far, it hasn't shown a willingness to do either. But I'm hopeful that either right now, since it's 3 o'clock, we'll get something between now and 3:15, or during the back half of the hour, during the macro, we'll get something there. Usually 2 to 3 times a week, between 3:50 and 4 o'clock, we usually find some type of entry. It did all of that to show that it might want to be bullish, only to the minute before it turned to 3 o'clock, trade back into the fair value gap. And then as soon as 3 o'clock started, take out half of this range on the first candle. All right, let's just see. Do we have anyone in positions now? So CBS is short, right? So you are in profit there. Good. Queen is short as well, also in profit. I'm assuming you guys came out of the breaker here, somewhere around 555 level. Okay, 74 and a half. Oh, okay. You're either trading CFDs or you went short during lunch. All right, Wesley Cox said 555. Okay. 2 minutes short. All right. All right, Anton. Nope. Same chart. Okay. Yeah. So you must have went in during lunch. So you've been, man, you've been holding CBS diamond hands over here. Yeah. Something tells me these higher lows are going to be run. I don't see them holding at all because the price isn't moving higher. Techno in the background. Oh man. I will. Yeah, I don't really, I don't want to. Definitely don't want to do that. I just don't want it to be become a distraction. Alrighty. All right. I think we have enough people saying don't do it to, to at least for the time being, nix the idea. I'm not sure what Nvidia is doing today. I usually don't know anything about those kind of announcements coming from tech companies. I'll be honest with you. You guys usually warn me about what's happening, and so I do rely on you to bring that information to me, or I have become reliant on that information from you. Honestly, it'd be nice if price ran to the midnight open, so at least we have that taken care of. We don't have to worry about that anymore. All right, we had our first swing low taken in quite some time. Well, not the first one, but the deepest one, I would say, in this afternoon session. We did sweep these right here. Okay, another retest of the new day opening gap here at 533. We're almost in the next macro of 315 to 345 when price likes to run to the midnight open. So it'd be nice if it did that now. Now let's see if we swept this low here. I don't think, nope, we got close, but we didn't quite get there. We're short by maybe a point. Let's see, the low is 529 and 3/4. One tick. We're close. All right, let's see if it will finally now come and take this low out. The low from 1300. And it did. Okay, let's see if the midnight open is up next. Anyone in shorts, congratulations on a successful trade. Oh, nope. Aiming at 450. Okay. All right, midnight open. There it is. Good to see. Asia low up next at 516. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick peek over at the other indices and just make sure we understand where we are in price as we navigate this final hour today. All right, so the dollar is kind of conflicted. It's in a bearish and bullish fair value gap, so its price is pretty stagnant. It is, however, I'm showing a bearish candle body at the moment. So in the first 20 minutes, it's been pushing lower. Past two candles also bearish candles, but however, both have pressed into the bullish fair value gap below and been rejected both times. We look over at the Dow. Yeah, Dow's not really doing much. It's just in between the range of the 11 o'clock high and the 10 o'clock low. S&P, let's see. Looks like it's now traded down into a discount from this price leg here. Basically yesterday's close until the high of this morning around 7 o'clock. Okay, we're at 71% retracement. And on top of that, we had a swing low that we have now traded through for the past 3 hours, each time the candle body stayed above. So I wonder if the S&P wants to remain bullish. We'll have to wait and see, but we should know pretty soon because it's down near where the line is that it crossed over. And in Q, let's see. Yeah, Nasdaq. I'm looking at this fair value gap below, down at 514. I want to see how price reacts when it gets there. If that fails, we have more areas. So we have another fair value gap down at 470, a bullish one. And further than that, I'll jump back over and let you know at that time. But right now we have two areas. We have 515 and then 470. Shalor Trades, what's going on? Volume imbalance on the daily. Okay, let me check that. Oh, yep, I do have that marked up. I have like 527 to 509, and I think there might be one lower than that. Anton, I have a question for you. What's your, like, I don't understand why you keep talking about spot and how we need to move off futures and into spot. I don't get it. No, I'm not in. I'm not in. All right. Yeah, Anton, but you realize we trade futures on this channel, right? Or more specifically, I trade futures on this channel. So I guess the bigger question is, why do you come? Right, hit to the tick, 50% of the S&D zone. 6. Good job, Laughter. Yeah, let's see if it continues. Yeah, that's yeah, I've been learning. I've been watching DTFX. Dave trades all his material, and he talks a lot about the S&D zone. And then when there's a retracement, it goes back and it finds the S&D zone that was responsible um, for the move. And so I was going back and I was looking and I was thinking, I was like, where would it go if it was trading down here? And I was looking and then I saw this little 2 candle pullback that then pushed price above these highs over here. That then fueled the run up. So this entire move up that when I had measured it and I said, okay, this is the leg that we're in, and we've just been trading down and inside the range here. So I went and I said, well, what caused this entire range? And that's when I found this S&D zone and I said, all right, well, I think that's where it's going to go. Let's see. And so far, that's exactly where it went. Now it may go below it. Who knows? But that would have been a nice place to pull your TP if you're in a short. Yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still definitely still learning Dave's method. I don't. I'm not qualified to teach it. I'm not even qualified to trade it just yet. But I'm still learning. CBS, I guess so. I guess that could be a 10-minute order block. Yeah, I didn't take the short here. I couldn't get behind a short that took over 2 hours to develop. The outer bullish volume imbalance. Orders. What is this? 77 and a quarter. Yep, just slightly below here at 74. Because I was also looking at the daily, the wick on the daily chart from yesterday, and I was hoping we would trade into 50% of that to balance that price range. And oddly enough, that 50% is just below here, like 18,474. All right, Jay. Queen, do you have two monitors where you can have two open trades at a time? Hmm. All right, I'm gonna throw these back up here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and see how many times did we touch into the breaker that ultimately sent price lower during the macro period. So we did it for the first time here, then we did it here and there. All right, so it looked like the optimal entries was at 205, 255, and then 3 o'clock. There were better entries in between, but if you were looking for high probability during macro time frames, gave you three different entries over 2 hours or two different macro periods. All right, S&D zone did not hold. Fair value got below. It's now absorbing price. We'll see if it wants to hold. I don't, Cabal, I don't think so. Kabul, I'm not sure. No, I don't think you have to have 50% consistency. I think you cannot have more than 50% of your winnings in one day. So if your objective target for passing evaluation is $3,000, you cannot make more than 1,500 in any given day. Otherwise, your overall target will increase so that your biggest winning day is 50% or less than the total. Yep. Yeah, Kabul. Yeah, there's no consistency target. You just make sure you don't make more than 50% in any given day. That's all. Yeah, there are other, and Apex sometimes has a 1 day challenge, sometimes a 2 day challenge. And I guess if you're in my funded futures or one of the others, yeah, they have different rules as well. But Top Step forces you to at least trade 2 days. Um, and they make sure that not that 1 day, the largest total cannot be more than 50% of the total. Yes, that would be a problem because if you make 1800 tomorrow, then 1800 will be more than 50% of your total. I believe that's 60%. That would be 60%. And so you couldn't do that. So what you would have to do is then your total to pass the evaluation would be 3600. So it would be that 1800 times two. What I suggest you do is to cap it off, and tomorrow, if you think you can make 1800, close your trade when you make 1500, and then come back the following day and make 300. So at 8 points. So your target is 18,450. Is that what you're looking for CVS? 449 and a half. Okay. Yeah, Queen. I don't think it's a good or a bad thing. I don't think it matters. They just don't want you to go in and hit a home run, get funded, and then lose your account. Oh, that's right, CVS. You did say you were in at 574 during lunch or sometime around that time. Well, just be careful. We got 10 more minutes in this hour and then 10 more minutes on the other half of the hour. And I know Top Step makes you stop trading at 10 after 4. So I'm not sure who you're with, who your broker is, and how long they allow you to trade, but just keep that in mind. Man, why is the Asia low still sitting there? Asia low was taken a while ago. Right, S&D zone, you can get out of here too. Yep, I was wondering this morning if that was going to be the case, and ultimately it turned out that the new week opening gap held price below. Oh, sorry. There we go. Make sure you can see everything on the screen here. Yep, last final macro is here. You're right. Macro is just, it's a set of instructions that the algorithm uses to seek liquidity, and it's run at different times throughout the day. Generally speaking, it's the final 10 minutes of each hour and the first 10 minutes of the following hour. That's why you'll hear me a lot of times speak about it. And here you see I have these vertical lines. They're really faint, so you may not be able to see it, but it's marked off from 350 until 410. And it's just where price will want to go and seek liquidity. Now, we just had a big bearish run for the 20, 30 minutes leading up to the macro here. So we may not even get anything important because liquidity would have just been run just a few minutes ago. But it could. You never know. All right, on hourly, the 1600 on Monday. Oh, the run back up, about halfway up the candle. All right, we can see that lower prices have been sought. We just swept this low once again. Let's see if the March 25th low is in play, which was essentially yesterday's low. And that's down at 414. All right, there you go, CBS. You got your trade. I mean, you got your TP. Oh, you're talking about it had no wick. Okay, I get it now. I remember now. And yesterday, you guys were talking about what the name of a candle with no wick. I get it. I forgot about it. Okay. TJ going to Puerto Rico. All right. Wow, look at that hourly candle. Just past the consequent encroachment of the wick there. The wick from Monday at 9 a.m. on the hourly candle. So we passed that as well. Jeez. Oh, let's see. Why did it fall like that? Well, it had been showing signs that it was bearish for quite some time, right? We spent the bulk of the afternoon looking at this barrier here to price, where price traded up, failed, traded up, failed, traded up, failed, traded up, failed, and then it failed. It eventually went down. So it fell like this because of time. It's within the 3 o'clock hour. The market closes. All the volume really shrinks at 4. The market closes at 5, but not a lot happens between 4 and 5. So it was running out of time to make this move, and we had been looking for this move to happen since around 12:30. And so it waited all the way until the last minute. It got to 3 o'clock, and then price started to drop. So I think that was the reason why it happened now. But we had been waiting for this all afternoon, and it was created by the bearish breaker here on the 5-minute chart. 11:45. We had price trade above it just before lunch. The lunch hour, it fell below, creating and validating the breaker. And from then, we were just waiting for price to just fall, and it never did until 3 o'clock. So So that's all there is. Nothing special happened. They were running out of time, and that's another reason why it's good to trade the last hour of the day, because you don't have to wait so long for it to produce the results. It only has an hour to finish, so it'll hurry up and move to where it's going, and that's why you see here consecutive candles, all bearish candles. It's not one down, one up, one down, one up. It needs to hurry up and get to where it's going, and so that's what happened there. Marzu Bozu pattern. What? Oh man. Okay. No, Dante, I was not in a short. I was looking at this formation to create a short, but as I was mentioning earlier, the fact that it presented itself at 12:30 and price didn't drop until 3 o'clock. That was 2.5 hours of waiting for the setup to produce something, even though the entry would have been made probably somewhere over here. At the latest, people were getting in here at 1:30. And even then, you still had to wait 90 minutes for price to drop down. So based on that, I didn't have a lot of confidence and faith in price action there. So the fact that it fell, right, it's okay that it goes without me. I'll catch the next one that presents the same setup, but without all the difficulty, or not even difficulty, but the hesitation. Um, No, well, the macro is not the reason why it fell. The macro is, again, it's the same thing I mentioned about it falling at 3 o'clock. It's just time. So sometimes you'll see a setup where you can almost predict where price is going to go, but if time is not right, it won't move. And so sometimes it waits for news, sometimes it waits for a macro. In this case, it waited for 3 o'clock, so it only had 1 hour to produce, and so it just exhausted everyone to where no one was, or people like me were not willing to get in the trade. Then it happened. So they always say when you're trading, you want to be mindful of time and price. Time being the most important of the two metrics, but price is also important. And in this case, we knew exactly where it would sell from, so we knew price. We just had to wait for time. Oh, trachologist, congratulations, way to go. Yes, if you get a unicorn set up during a macro time, that's when you want to get in, and that's why I also showed here. This is the unicorn setup because you have the fair value gap inside of the breaker. And then if we go back to the previous macro from 250 to 310, right? I'll even drop it down to the 1 minute just so we can see it a little better. And we can see we had 256, 257, 258, 259, 3 o'clock. So I gave you 5 opportunities, 5 minutes consecutively within this 20-minute macro to enter inside of the breaker for the unicorn setup. And then price fell. Right. Now it lets you get in the previous macro as well. 150 to 210, I think it did. Yeah, it did. See here, right here at 208, it gave you an entry during the macro. So it gave you an opportunity here as well. You just had to wait an entire hour until the following macro finished, and then price fell. So you would just been early and you had to hold your trade the entire time. Or you could have still entered into the breaker, just not during a macro period. And you had several opportunities to do that as well. Starting around 12:30ish, had a few more around 1:30. Or hell, even gave you an opportunity to get in here just before 1 o'clock. Yeah, Queen, and that's why we stay until the 350 macro. We stay all the way until the very end. Um, I'll be honest. My first 2 years of learning trading and then starting trading, I would give up around 3:30 and walk away from the computer. And then sometimes I would see that the move happened later and I'd say, you know what, it's not worth it. I don't care. And a lot of that was just I didn't have enough back testing. I didn't have enough experience with that time frame, and I was afraid that even if I entered a trade during that time, it wouldn't produce a result before 10 after 4. And now looking at it every single day, I see it absolutely delivers before 10 after 4. Usually it delivers before 4 o'clock. Alrighty. Take care. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. All right, bundle up. No problem. Catch you tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, Darius, if you're looking for macros, just go on YouTube. You should be able to let me figure out who's giving out those. Just give me a second. Oh, there we go. Yep. Yeah, either go and visit this guy, Hydra, or visit Flux Trades. On YouTube, check out those two educators, and they give some good information and good videos on the macro. Yeah, you're right, Quinn. I did see that Hydra has a couple macros that ICT doesn't endorse. That he said during his back testing, he's seen that price has instructions during that time period as well to go to certain levels. So that's what he uses. So yeah, I've also seen that as well. Yeah, Hydra uses, I think, in the middle of the hour, like 20 to 40 minute time period. I've seen him use those. But there you have it. So yeah, hopefully that was informative for everyone. I know Lux Algo also has a macro indicator. Okay. Yeah, so you can check that as well in TradingView. Lux Algo as a macro indicator if you just want to put something on your chart that displays it for you. But if you want to learn what the macros do and how to trade it, then yeah, check out Hydra and Flux Trades. All right, everyone. Thank you for this afternoon session. We had a really good one. I know it was slow for quite some time. It was a 30 point spread for a couple of hours, and we had to endure that. Similar to yesterday, we had to endure that and then pick up a good trade at the end of the day. We did the same thing today. Between 3 and 4 o'clock, it produced what we were looking for. I didn't join in that trade, but many of you did. So congrats to all of you who did and were able to pull something from the market. Let's see. All right, Richard C. tomorrow. Francois, Robin, CBS, Hudson. I do not trade overnight. No, not really. I'm on the West Coast, so I'm already waking up at between 5 and 5:30 to start the stream in the morning. So I try to get to bed pretty early. So no, I miss out on the London session, and I don't trade the afternoon when the Asian session is slow. No, and yeah, I don't place a small trade overnight just to see what happens. No, I can't. I wouldn't be able to sleep if I knew I had a trade on. So no, I don't. All right, Queen, we'll catch you tomorrow. All right, everyone. Tomorrow morning, 9:15, we're right back at it. So I hope to see you there. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Click that thumbs up, please, and subscribe if you haven't. Don't miss out on any of the invitations to the live stream on a daily basis or any of the reminders just in case you forget. Or if I change the time, like it could be something that I'm doing and I need to come in an hour late or something. And therefore, if you're subscribed, you'll know that and you'll get the invitation. So, all right, everyone, take care. Till tomorrow.